Am I the a-hole for refusing to reconcile with my estranged half-sister after everything she did? Let me start with the background because this whole situation is a mess and it won't make sense unless you understand the history. My dad was married once before he met my mom. For the sake of this post, I'll call his first wife Betty. Together, they had my half-sister Jana, 26F. Things fell apart quickly when Jana was a baby. When she was just 8 months old, Betty was arrested for driving under the influence of drugs with Jana in the car. That was the breaking point for my dad. He filed for divorce and fought for full custody. He got temporary custody, and Betty was ordered into rehab instead of jail. When Betty completed her stint in rehab, she slowly started getting visitation again. Supervised visits at first, and eventually unsupervised every other weekend visits. For a while, it looked like maybe she was trying to get her life together. Around this time, when Jana was about 2.5, my dad met my mom. They dated for a couple of years, got engaged, and that's when Betty started getting nasty. She wasn't just rude. She was openly hostile toward my mom, spreading lies, making threats, and trying to stir up trouble. When Jana was 6, Betty lost custody and visitation again. She was arrested a few more times, and her life spiraled back into drugs and prison. Jana's life with my dad and my mom was stable compared to what Betty could provide, but it didn't erase the chaos Betty left in her wake. I, 19, was born around the time Betty got out of jail the first time. From then on, things only escalated. Some of my earliest memories aren't happy childhood ones. There are police lights flashing outside our house, broken glass from smashed windows, and my parents trying to comfort us while alarms blared. Betty would show up screaming, threatening, and completely out of control. We moved several times, sometimes across town, sometimes to entirely new towns, just to get away from her. But she always seemed to find us. By the time I was about 5 to 7, this was just normal life for me. Imagine growing up thinking it was normal for police to be regular visitors at your home. That's the kind of trauma I carry. Eventually, Betty got arrested again and sentenced to more time in prison. Those years were the calmest in our household. We could finally breathe. But when Jana turned 16, things took a dark turn. Betty was released from prison, and Jana, who had always struggled with her feelings about her mom, decided to reconnect with her. At first, none of us knew. We only found out when Jana secretly let Betty into our house in the middle of the night while everyone else was sleeping. We woke up to chaos. Betty was in a rage, screaming, smashing things, stealing what she could, and then running before the police arrived. The betrayal stung even more because Jana didn't even try to deny what she did. In fact, she doubled down and accused my mom of abusing her and my dad of covering it up. She claimed that was why Betty was so unhinged and that Betty had never really been on drugs at all. Her accusations were serious enough that Child Protective Services got involved, and all of us kids were removed from my parents for 2 months while it was investigated. Those were the longest, scariest 2 months of my life. I was just 9 years old, ripped away from my parents who had always been there for me, all because of Jana and Betty's lies. Eventually, the truth came out, and me and my younger siblings were returned to our parents. But Jana wasn't. She didn't want to come back. She chose Betty and cut ties with us. My younger siblings were too little to remember much of it, but I remember everything. The fear, the confusion, the betrayal, it's all burned into my brain. Fast forward to now. I'm 19, and a few weeks ago my dad somehow got back in contact with Jana. He's decided to try to reconcile with her. And not just him, my mom's side of the family, my siblings, even my grandparents are all on board. Everyone is talking about second chances and healing and rebuilding the family. But me? I want no part of it. I haven't forgotten what she did. I haven't forgotten how her actions tore our family apart, how her lies got me taken from my parents, how she brought a dangerous, unstable woman into our home in the middle of the night. Those aren't small mistakes you can just wave away. And here's the kicker. Jana hasn't changed. She has never once apologized for her actions. She has refused to talk to my mom since reconnecting with my dad. When I asked my dad about it, he admitted that he tried to get Jana to sit down with my mom, and she flat out refused. She still talks to Betty regularly. According to my grandparents, she even visited Betty while she was in prison and continues to see her now that she's out. To me, that's a massive red flag. My siblings are all excited, but they don't really remember what happened. They just want the idea of a big sister back. Everyone else seems willing to overlook all the warning signs because they're chasing this fantasy of reconciliation. Meanwhile, I'm being pressured hard to go along with it. I'm being told I'm bitter, broken, unforgiving, and that I'll regret not repairing the relationship someday. But the truth is, this isn't something I've secretly hoped for. This isn't some missing piece of my heart. For me, Jana is a source of trauma, not nostalgia. And maybe I'm harsh, but I honestly don't think I'll ever reach a point where I want her in my life, changed or not. So now I'm stuck between holding my ground and being painted as the stubborn, heartless one in the family. I love my dad, but I feel like he's ignoring reality. I love my siblings, but they don't understand what really happened. And my mom? She's staying quiet, but I can tell she's hurt that Jana still won't even acknowledge her. So, am I the whole for refusing to reconcile with my half-sister when the rest of my family is?